Oh yeah, a Honda Civic Wagon. I've been lacking some serious rad this year on Wookie drives, and this EE2 wagon brings all of the rad. Alright, let's jump straight to the chase. This particular 1989 Honda Civic Wagon DX is part of the fourth generation of Honda Civic, and is the last gasp of the wonderfully weird Honda of the 1980s. It was also the last generation that the wagon was part of the Civic line. Following this generation, that model got replaced by a JDM-only model, the Honda Orthea. While it may not have the wacky name of the third generation wagon in the States, known affectionately here as the Wagovan, the wagon was still a fantastic little doorstop-shaped wedge that you could fit a small family and all their vacation luggage in the back with. Oh, and you could still get it with real-time four-wheel drive. The fourth generation wagon was available with either the 1.5-liter DB15B2 single overhead cam 4-banger that produced a whopping 92 horsepower and 88 foot-pounds of torque when new in front-wheel drive models, or the 1.6-liter D16A6 single overhead cam 4-banger and 4-wheel drive models that produced a mighty 108 horsepower and 100 foot-pounds of torque. Front-wheel drive models hooked that up to either a 5-speed automatic or 4-speed auto, and 4-wheel drive models got either a 6-speed manual that featured a super low granny gear or the 4-speed. 4-wheel drive models got decals celebrated in 4-wheel drive, and the wagon model would actually outlive the rest of the fourth generation overseas until 1996, where it'd be replaced by the aforementioned Orthea. As I mentioned before, we got straight to the goods with the start of this video. But just look at this lovable little box. You can't hate it. It has all the charm in the world, with its shape straight from your favorite wedged cheese. And a lot of that joy is wrapped into the fact that this car is a survivor. 32 years have been hard on rad-era cars, especially Japanese cars like this little Honda. Japanese cars weren't exactly known for their rust-proofing, and while these wagons and their available four-wheel drive were fantastic in the winter, they simply crumbled away over time. So seeing one today, let alone any early 90s and earlier Japanese vehicle, becomes sort of an exciting thing for an automotive nerd like myself who grows tired of seeing old Camaros and Mustangs at meets and shows. Yes, I know I just reviewed another Camaro, shut up. Let me just nerd out for a moment and enjoy the car spotting serotonin. But owning an old rad-era Honda can be a bit of a challenge. At the time of filming, this car had just been purchased for $2,200 from its previous owner. But the car itself had sat for over 2 years since the previous owner had moved on to other projects. While mostly everything works and is in excellent condition, the biggest problem with this EE2 Civic is its brakes. They're not just not good, they failed. On our drive, the owner Ryosuke mentioned to be wary of the pedal getting long at stoplights and stop signs, and I found myself having to operate the e-brake to keep from rolling into traffic more and more. He said he was pretty sure that the rear brake cylinders were beginning to leak from sitting for those couple of years, and he confirmed yes, one of the rear brake cylinders was leaking once he got home. Not really the best of times on a drive on an otherwise fantastically driving car, but it's something I've sort of come to expect when I purchase an old rad-era car myself. Now, would I recommend to take said leaking brakes car several towns over to film for a small YouTube channel? No, but I'm not immune to buying rad-era cars and immediately taking them on drives that I really shouldn't have done. I drove my Diplomat with no lights 3 years back, virtually untested one evening. I took a chance on the Trooper buying from a high school student who was obviously beating the snot out of it. Yeah, a couple weeks after purchasing that thing, I had one of that kid's friends show up at a car meet and tell me that it shot flames out of the tailpipe, so yeah, that was something I didn't need to hear. And once I bought a 1977 Jeep Cherokee SJ, yes, the Wagoneer-based one, and proceeded to drive it all the way from Charlotte to Statesville, North Carolina, oil smoke and all, pouring everywhere. But aside from the brakes, this 1989 Honda Civic Wagon DX is in fantastic driving condition, and is an absolute hoot on the road. That previously mentioned previous owner had replaced the original D15B2 with a D16Z6 from an EJ2 Civic Si, and it now has that fantastic 90s VTEC. Coupling the D16Z6's 125 horsepower and 106 foot-pounds of torque with the EE2 wagon's 2,286 pound weight, it's actually a very lively driving experience. The EJ engine has a surprising amount of torque for the application and is incredibly easy to drive at low speeds and RPMs. Then, VTEC Bro kicks in and the engine is an absolute screamer at higher RPMs. It's not modern car fast, but the lightweight and analog sensations make it seem a lot faster than it actually is. The short throw shifter is hooked up to Honda's fantastic shift linkage, providing one of the best shifting experiences you'll find outside of an exotic. The shift pattern is a tad narrow, but everything just engages very seamlessly. Again, Honda set the standard back then with just how good their shifters were, and it's a piece of engineering and design that they still hold true to this day. Continuing with the drive, the steering is simply fantastic. No overboosted power steering here, but a fantastically tuned and direct manual rack. Adding to the lightweight fun, the direct steering feels absolutely amazing on twisty country roads. Again, this feels like a way sportier car than it actually is. Here you have an apparently frumpy looking compact economy wagon driving way better than it should. It's cars like this that help build the budget tuner car reputation for Honda, as here you had a very good starting point in terms of performance. Lightweight, laser focused steering, and being very easy to upgrade and modify made these old Civics the focus of their own corner of the modified car world. And modified this particular 1989 Honda Civic Wagon is. Of course, there's the aforementioned D16 Z6 swap, greatly boosts this car potential. It's gone from a frumpy little toaster on wheels to approaching sleeper status. I wouldn't exactly call it a full-blown sports car, but it's fun in almost all aspects. The other major upgrade this car has received is a set of eBay coilovers, which, while handling well, don't really respond to bumps well at speed. The car in its current state is certainly what I would describe as go-kart-like. And while it means it feels fantastic going around curves at speed, it also means that it has little to no wheel travel, and it fires a shot to your kidneys every time you go over a large bump. Yeah, we did bottom this car out once, and it sounded absolutely horrible when it happened. Ryosuke said that one of the big things he's gonna do in the near future is upgrading from those coilovers, as they're just a tad obnoxious in this car's current state. The other big upgrade he plans on doing is an alarm system and a push-to-start, as his last Honda, the 425,000-mile EJ Civic from episode 41 of Wookie Drives, was stolen within a week of us filming that car. The perpetrator stripped it down to a bare chassis and left it to rot in a field. With this EE2 wagon and his bad experience of stolen Hondas, he wants to protect his funky little toaster oven for the long term, and he doesn't want to take that chance again. Anyways, in conclusion, this 1989 Honda Civic Wagon DX is a survivor of decades past, a glimpse of what small families were buying 32 years ago, before crossovers and pickup trucks were pretty much the only vehicle you'd see families drive. Honda doesn't really sell a car like this anymore, especially since the HR-V small crossover recently grew from the subcompact class to compact class. And alas, let's look back at this forgotten time, when Hondas were indeed very small and came in the most frumpiest of sizes and shapes. But underneath, they held the potential to be fantastic performance cars with just a little TLC and not much money. 1989 Honda Civic Wagon DX. What a fantastic little toaster. Thank you once again for watching another episode of Wookie Drives. This week's episode comes courtesy of Ryosuke of Hickory, North Carolina. Huge shout out for letting me drive his freshly purchased little rad-era toaster for this episode. If you have a car or truck you'd like to see on the show and happen to be in the Charlotte, Mooresville, North Carolina area, email me with your submission of a car at wookiedrives@gmail.com. That's right, submit your car to wookiedrives@gmail.com. Once again, that's wookiedrives@gmail.com. Don't forget to give the video a like, drop a comment with some feedback. Any sort of feedback in the comment section really helps this channel grow. Don't forget to share with all your Honda friends. And finally, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications for more Wookie Drives like these. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.
While some people are still waiting for the right car to come along, Honda owners are driving it. More Honda owners come back again and again. We seem to have a loyal following.